Well, welcome back. Well, 17 House Democrats were arrested yesterday outside of the Supreme Court during a pro-abortion protest. Protesting in front of the highest court is not illegal, but blocking the street between the Supreme Court and the Capitol is illegal. Members of the squad turning the protest into a spectacle yesterday, with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez pretending that she was handcuffed. All for show, before pumping her fist to a crowd of cheering supporters. She's putting her hands behind her back as if she's handcuffed. There were no handcuffs to be seen. Joining me right now is former Georgia Congressman and former Judiciary Committee ranking member Doug Collins. Doug, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning, Maria. It's good to be with you as well.
So I guess putting your hands behind your back as if you have handcuffs makes it look better. It's more dramatic.
Well, I thought the whole thing was set up. I think the whole thing was set up very well, Maria. We had the nice scarf, makeup and hair did well. We broke rank only one time. I thought she probably could have got the Best Actress award if she hadn't have just broke that moment when she had to put the fist up and then put it real quickly back. But other than that, it was a made-for-TV moment for just no purpose at all. It's really sad.
What is the
my
point?
Former colleague John. It's just sad. The point is just to bring attention to myself. I have to say this: AOC is and the squad are the best at one thing: self-promotion. That's all this was about. I guess the attention wasn't on them enough to lately, so they decided to go out and get basically fake arrested, make sure their photos, mugshots look good.
Yeah, I mean, the Biden administration continuing to carry on the green energy push. Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie questioned Transportation Secretary Buttigieg about the real cost to Americans, though, yesterday. Watch this.
If that average household plugged in electric cars, do you know how much more electricity they would use in comparison to the air conditioning that air conditions their whole house?
No, but again, I would emphasize it.
It would take 4 times as much electricity to charge the average household's cars as the average household uses on air conditioning.
The fact that people who have electric vehicles are going to use more electricity can't be a reason to give up.
Doug, do you think that the Transportation Secretary understands the energy needs, depending on what we're talking about here?
No, I don't think he does. And if you watch that, a lot of that hearing yesterday, when he got pushed, and Thomas pushed him very well and gave him just facts. And I think that's the thing that scares this administration the most is facts about the agenda that they're trying to push. He got to a point, if you noticed, he would talk about transportation. And then when it got to the point where he didn't really understand the grid and how much was there, he would say, well, that's not all of my part. That's other departments. We're only doing our part. And I think this is the part that's really concerning to me is they're pushing the pain that people are feeling right now to make change. And he's hiding. He's trying to not say it, but that's exactly what's happening here. They don't understand what they're asking for, and they're making the American people pay for it. And that's the problem. You've said it all morning. This is just a 10-year administration that doesn't seem to want to understand what's actually going on around them.
James.
Congressman, how much do you think the president, I guess you would say how much harm, people on the left would say how much progress can the president get done with administrative action now, since he can't get his climate bill through the Senate?
Very little. And I think that's, especially in light of the recent court decision out of West Virginia, which actually brought it back into Congress, actually having to do its job as far as deciding what happens with these bigger packages like the Clean Air Act and others. I mean, there'll be things that he'll be able to do around the edges, but not what they're planning and not what they promised the American people. So I think what we're going to see here is a stalemate. But it's also leading from I think the perspective coming November, it'll almost be next to nothing getting through Congress. So this is whatever they do, they're going to try to do it now. And that's why you're seeing so many bills going through to at least attempt to show that they're doing something.
Well, that's interesting to me, Congressman. Is there a specific number? In the business world, there's a number at which a leader reverses course or seeks new counsel or fresh opinion. Is there a number that's going around on the Hill where you say the administration potentially reverses course?
No, I don't think there is, because if you would have seen this, look, we've been 18 months of this. I mean, it's 18 months of one disaster after another disaster, PR-wise and reality-wise, and they don't seem to want to change. It's just a continuation of the same. Then the only thing they get good at is finding somebody else to blame. And I think that's become the real problem that the American people are seeing. Is what I'm seeing, and also the agenda. And if you talk to Democrats offline, off the Hill, they are this. I've never seen a party so frustrated with their own president sitting in the White House.
Well, Doug, listen, you are now out of Congress. I have a job idea for you. I think perhaps you should go educate these 15, 16 members that were fake arrested or fake handcuffs yesterday. Teach them about civics and how the legislative body works and how they can actually pass laws if they want to affect change. I don't know about you, but I think maybe that's a good job for you next.
You've actually hit the biggest problem in Congress right now. There are too many people who go to Congress and forget that their title is legislator instead of YouTube star.
Yeah. Good point.
Well,
Doug, it's great to see you. Thank you so much.
Good to see you as well.